Hey Tracy, it's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, living the dream. How are you?
Beautiful. I'm doing quite fine. And thank you so very much for being here. Like I mentioned earlier, actually appreciate it. And you see, Tracy, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things, all right? And I do this so often to the point where it has become an anthem for me. So firstly, Tracy, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you invested in yourself. And oftentimes, Tracy, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. Some months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, there was this tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, Tracy, just recently I was on that same road, and this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree. The mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance, and immediately I got the heart to move so close to it, which I did, and it wowed me because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches, and not just mangoes now, Tracy, but ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely moment that day. I was so excited. Here is my point. The fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Tracy that you are today, that alone has made it really impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing, your philosophies, your insight, how you're offering your solutions, the impact your work has added. These stuff are amazing. And just before you got the text from me, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Tracy is doing, not only me now, but even the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Tracy. So thank you so very much for doing that yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thank you so much.
Well, thanks for telling me I'm a nice ripe mango. I mean, that's a first for me.
Beautiful. Thank you so very much. Okay, so let's get started. You see, hmm, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today for two reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Tracy, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information, and not just knowledge now, but the application of it. And you see, Tracy, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness means ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking. Why? Because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. The second reason why I'm excited to have the amazing Tracy on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, Tracy, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So for that reason, Tracy, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or professional journey. Because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Tracy got here. And afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions. Okay, Tracy, over to you.
Awesome. So I was really a very late bloomer. I didn't really start my journey at all until my mid 30s. Up until that point, I really wasn't sure how I fit in the world and what I wanted to do, or, I was really very disconnected. And the only time that changed was when I got involved in almost a sales situation. So before that, I was very shy and I was in a finance role. And then I got the opportunity to go into recruitment, and it's very people focused and very sales focused. And that was really the shift. So at that time, I started reading the personal development books. I got hold of Tony Robbins. He was my first. And that was really my gateway into understanding for the first time in my life that I can actually control my journey. Because up until that point, I never had that awareness. I kind of thought that life was something that happened to you, and you were kind of passive as you went through it. And as soon as I realized, but wait a second, you have to make things happen for yourself, that was really when my real life started. And from there, I think because of that insight that I'd had, and because of the fact that I was in recruitment and I was working with identifying talent, understanding people is what really hooked me. So my entire career from that moment has been about understanding what makes us tick, what makes us strong, what gets in the way of that. What are we here to do? How can we support each other so that we're stronger to do that? And in a nutshell, that's what I've been focused on. So for the last 15 years or so, this has been really in the business space and the entrepreneurial space, just because I found that it's, I don't want to say predictable, but the journey in that area, you can track it. So you can see these are the improvements that are happening. You can define what that will look like as someone goes through that transformation. And also, I have a very, very strong belief that the small to medium-sized business is going to make the biggest impact for the most amount of people. So that's really where my joy and my purpose is.
Beautiful, and that's wonderful. The fact that you went after seeking knowledge because you were uncomfortable with the situation. And now you are using your solution to help folks create an impact. That's very inspiring. Thank you for sharing that with us. So let us talk about thinking and behavior. How does thinking and behavior affect our results?
It affects absolutely everything. So in the example that I shared on how I started, my belief and my belief system, which formed, from when I was a kid and then all growing up, my belief was that life happens to you. You don't drive it. You can't impact it. It's something you just have to kind of get through. And because I believed that, I didn't push myself. I didn't realize I could even push myself. I didn't explore alternatives. I didn't try to find out what would make me happy because I didn't feel like I had control over any of that. And so having that belief, of course, once you have the belief, that of course is going to affect your thinking. So if the belief is, I don't control my life, the thinking is, it's just day in, day out. And then you live your life that way. You find a job just because it pays the bills and you go there and you probably hate every minute. And I've been in a lot of situations where I've hated every minute. And until you change the belief, because your results will never, ever change until you can challenge what beliefs are holding you hostage, and consequently, what behaviors support the belief that you need to relearn so that you can get unstuck.
I got that. I got that. Okay, you mentioned helping business and entrepreneurs earlier. So I was just curious, what are the stages of business growth? And why should we know them?
Very, very good question. Why the stages of business growth are so important to understand is because when you understand what the business needs, it really tells you how you need to show up as a business owner. So just like a person goes from this crying baby who demands 24/7 and cannot survive without you until your toddler and then your adolescent and then your adult. The business growth stages are the same. So when you start out in business, when you just decide I'm gonna will this thing into life, it's like that little baby. It cannot survive without you. You need to do everything for it. And the problem that you're solving there is usually cash, right? I need to make money to make things work, even though I haven't actually established a revenue yet. I don't know if it's necessarily going to work yet. I'm still busy putting systems and processes, trying to get it off the ground. So in that first phase of business, the problems that you're solving, it's all around that hustle. It's all around, how am I going to get enough money so that I can actually get this thing off the ground? Once you've figured that problem out, you get, of course, to the next problem that you need to figure out, and that is customers. So this is the point where the problem that you need to solve is your message market fit. And what that is all about is, how are you going to create and communicate value to the market? Because if you're not selling something that people want to buy, the business can't survive. So first cash, then it's customers. Once you've done that, you get to the next level of business development. So now you've got the cash, you've got the customers, which also strengthens your cash situation. The next thing is capacity. So now, because you've got the demand coming in, you need to be able to fulfill on that demand. And this is where it starts getting very interesting, because now it's about, you need to bring more people into the business so that they can help take care of the capacity. You can't grow beyond your own limitations, right? We all have the same amount of time. And if you really want to build a business that has impact, it's not something you can do on your own. So now the skill shifts to getting the most out of other people. So your management ability, your leadership, it's very important at this stage to have documented business processes and systems so that people understand what's expected of them and you're able to track that. So once you get the leadership down, you get to the next. Now, I really only covered the first four because that is where the majority of businesses are going to grow to. Once you grow bigger than that, I don't work at that level because I like working the small to medium. But the final one, and this is also, I mean, I say every transition is challenging because it's something very different. But the final one is about complexity. So now that you've got the cash, you've got the customers, you've got the team. The next thing is, how, from an expansion perspective, how are you going to make that business relevant into the future? So that means you need to be able to scan what's coming up in my space. How do I need to adapt to that? What opportunities are presenting and how can I maximize or leverage that? Am I using my stakeholders to the best possible value that I can? If I want to open up another branch or another location, how can I blueprint what is working right now so that you can make that process as seamless as possible? So then it becomes very important for you to access specialized skill. Until this point, it's been very, very generalized. But now you might want to get specialist finance people or specialist systems or IT people, or big thing, specialist strategy people, so that you have sounding boards and you don't need to be the one with all the answers anymore. Because we don't know what we don't know, and that is going to be the function of that fourth business phase.
Amazing, Tracy. You see, I feel like I am in a business class. And my lecturer, Tracy, teaching me
Sorry.
stuff. Oh boy.
That's awful.
I love
Okay,
that.
so I'm a ripe mango, and I'm a business lecturer. I'm so sorry. You should have rethought that. Oh, Tracy will be great.
I tell you, I just got educated now. You see, this stuff, many of these things they don't teach us at schools, I tell you. Thank you for sharing that. I love that. So you mentioned selling, and it caught my attention pretty good. So I wanted to ask concerning those folks who are introverted business owners, how can they overcome the fear of selling? Got it?
I love this one. And you know what? I've worked with hundreds of entrepreneurs, and I have to tell you, probably 65 to 70% of them are more introverted. They the bookish kind of people, and they the problem solvers, but not on the front line. And the biggest challenge that they have when they come into the sales situation is thinking that they need to be pushy, right? It's thinking that they need to force a sale. And I think when you're on the other side of that, when you're actually the customer, that pushy sales is actually the thing that puts you off. It's not the thing that makes you want to buy. So how I work with entrepreneurs who find that this is a challenge is when you get that person speaking about what they do, speaking about the value of their product, their confidence is completely different. So if they can just get outside of their head that they are selling, across from somebody, and rather that you're not selling, you're sharing value. This is a conversation about value. It's a mindset shift, right? Because that's what sales is. Sales is, you have a problem. I understand your problem. This is the solution that I can present for your problem. How do you feel that will work for you? That is what sales is. So there's not, you don't have to think about all the background mechanics and this person is like this and they're going to buy like this. Just stick to the point that you're discussing your solution to their problem. And if you can help them understand their problem and you know that your solution is going to address their problem, then that's sales.
I got that. So what should anyone know before starting a business?
I think theoretically, people know that starting and growing a business is difficult. But what we know and actually experiencing it is something completely different, right? When entrepreneurs that I've worked with, when they've started out, they have that lovely business plan. Don't let ChatGPT write your business plan because that means you don't know. And the whole point of the business plan is that you need to know what gap are you filling, what value are you bringing, so that you have an economic right to exist. So first, you need to know what gap you have. Who are the people that has the problem that you can solve? So important to have a support network. Right. So important to have realistic goals. When you have a look at that business plan, every single time I've seen it, when it comes to the budget, I see this beautiful straight graph that says month on month, we're going to increase and increase and increase. I promise you it doesn't work like that. Right? You can go for 3 months with absolutely nothing, get so demotivated that you stop pushing it. And that, of course, drives a whole lot of nothing. So it's about showing up every day as though yesterday didn't happen. Right? And you need to do that. And you need to do that as long as it's going to take until things shift for you. But at the same time, I mean, it's about, I don't know if you've heard, it says courage is knowing it's going to hurt and doing it anyway. Stupidity is the same. And that's why life is hard. So yeah, it's the persistent. So how persistent are you? How resilient are you? If things don't go your way, what do you have in place so that you can either work through that to get to the other side? Because quitting, it hangs on you, right? If you try it and it doesn't work out, you never let go of that. 10 years down the line, 20 years down the line, you always think, well, if I had known something else, could I have had a different outcome? So it's best, if you're going to go in, go all in.
I got that. Beautiful. So I'll take that as a final thought. So to bring this to an end, Tracy, for folks who would like to reach out to you, learn more about everything we've discussed, or ask questions, how can that be possible?
I have a link to share. It's a direct link to book a 30-minute chaos to clarity session with me. So I can drop that. I can share that with you, and you can maybe just drop it in the comments below.
Of course, it will be added to the show as well. So thank you so very much, Tracy. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing this beautiful stuff with us. It means a whole lot. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. Go well.